Hey guys, so today I wanted to talk to you about if your friend just came out as transgender or if your friend is transgender, and just a couple things to know when that happens and how you can best support them. So this isn't a matter of, oh, do you support them, do you not? You should support them if they're your friend. Like, what's wrong with you? Like, come on. So the first thing is, when your friend comes out to you, understand that that's an incredibly difficult thing for them to do. A lot of times when you're coming out, it's it gets harder the more you care about the person that you're coming out to. So like parents especially, it gets really difficult. It's very hard on the individual who's coming out. And a lot of that is just associated with the fear of being rejected, because there's so many cases of trans people being rejected by their parents or by their peers and everything like that, and that sucks. So this is going to be about making sure that you're as supportive as possible, and also a couple things to keep in mind and consider. So the first thing is figuring out what their preferred pronouns are. So if it's like your friend, like if it's your friend Charlie, and then Charlie is like, well, I prefer to be called, like, I see myself as a girl. So she's transitioning to female. Okay, so ask her how she would like to be called. She'll tell you. Especially early on, every trans person, especially with their friends, they're super understanding. They know it's going to take a little bit of like an adjustment, because chances are you kind of had to go through that yourself, because to understand who you are as a person, you've got to kind of look in your own life and your own experiences, where you're kind of plugging pieces together. It's like a puzzle, where that puzzle was all like thrown around, and that puzzle's your brain, and you put your puzzle back together, and your puzzle's like, oh, this is my identity, this is my gender, like, bam. Okay, so they've done all the work themselves, so they understand. My hair is being very fussy today. Bleh. Okay, so after you figure that out, if you have questions, feel free to ask them. Couple right and wrong ways to ask questions. I've already talked about one earlier, where I've talked about, oh, why did you decide that you wanted to be a girl, or why did you decide you wanted to be a boy? And it's like, I didn't decide that I wanted to be. I realized that I always was. So, you know, a better way to ask that is maybe like what helped you realize that, because a lot of times before somebody comes out, they may have characteristics of their preferred of their gender and everything like that. Like in my case, things like I liked being called princess by my friends, and I took time to I cared about my appearance a lot, and I kind of covered that with like trying to cut my hair shorter and trying to be like, oh yeah, like I'm just deepening my voice, and I'm a guy, and so like there's a couple things that kind of can throw you through a loop, and it's fine. The whole point of any transgender person kind of having that life before they came out is because they wanted to make sure that your understanding of like who they are, and you understand that a lot of that stuff that they were doing, especially if it was like they were trying to conform to like the gender identity that they were assigned with, a lot of that's just to try to like feel some kind of belonging. So asking them like what helped you like figure like realize this. A lot of it is a realization. So using the term like realize, or just kind of getting to know more about them, those are ways to support them, because you also get to know about them. And if they're your friend, you should want to know about them anyways. Especially if you care about them. You should be interested in their life other than just when you guys became friends. Like, if you guys are friends and the only thing you do is you play video games, okay, cool. What else? Like what else are you doing? So those kinds of friendships, that's where it's the most stressful, because you don't have a concrete relationship at first, and it's usually based on like one or two things, like maybe you guys have interest. And to those people, it shouldn't matter what gender they are anyways. I'm sure you've had plenty of girls that play video games, and obviously guys play video games, because that's what people expect is, oh, all boys play video games and like blah blah blah, like, okay, so that doesn't matter. That shouldn't affect you guys hanging out and spending time. And that alone is very important for somebody that's transitioning, because a lot of times you end up losing people in your life due to you coming out, and maybe they need time to process it, or they're just being like straight up ignorant. And and that sucks for those people. And it's very, very common for transgender people to feel alone. And it's hard, because the more alone you feel, the worse it feels to come out. And you start to question, like, was it worth doing this? Like, I don't, like I'm scared. Like, I don't want to be alone. And I had all these people that I talked to before, and now everyone's like left me. So that's a really terrifying feeling. And that's kind of the point of this video, is to help you understand like what to do. Sorry, I'm fixing my hair because it was like on my eyebrow. Anyways, so next thing is, after you've figured out the preferred pronouns, just try to be there. Like, if they want to talk, sometimes they might just want to vent. And if they want to vent, and it's the same thing as your friends venting to you about other stuff, the fact that they're trans really shouldn't matter, that other than just your own lack of understanding. And that's kind of the point of my videos, as well as other transgender YouTubers. Like, a lot of transgender YouTubers make videos to help educate. I know I'm not the first one. I kind of got this idea from somebody that I watch, and I really liked her videos. So I was like, oh, like, that is a really good idea. I want to just add my own little twist on a few things. Like, I want to add my own little flair to things. And yeah, like, there's so many ways to educate yourself. You can Google it, you can ask them, and it helps you understand more about the topic. So if you're not understanding, or like what they're talking about makes you feel uncomfortable because you considered them one gender, that's really close-minded of you, to be honest. And I'm not coming over here to be like, oh, you're a bad friend, like blah 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 blah. No, that's not what I'm getting at. What I'm getting at is, they're your friend regardless of how they see themselves. I really hope that when you look at your friends, you don't go, well, this is my boy collection, this is my girl collection. There you go. And then you're separating your friends based on, like, these are my girls that are my friends, and these are my boys that are my friends. And you're like, my friends. You keep them close to you, like straws. So you're holding all of your friends together, but they're separated. They're your friends. Together. Straws together. Okay. So, like, regardless of their gender, that should have no bearing over whether they are or are not your friend. And they're also the same person, which is a big thing. A lot of people think that coming out as transgender, it's like, you need help, you need therapy, there's something wrong with you. No. There was something wrong with us before we came out, because we weren't comfortable with who we are. Like, dysphoria itself is a condition. The process of transitioning is the cure to that. So you feel comfortable in your own skin. So being transgender, there's nothing wrong with you. You're just transitioning. It's an act. That's why it's a prefix. It's an adjective. It's not a noun. Like, I don't like looking at it and people being like, oh, well, this is my friend and she's trans. And it's like, okay, well, yes, like, let them know. I mean, I always try to make sure that people know from the get-go, especially if I'm like talking to them or something like that. I make it really clear. And it's just kind of like, you know, like, make sure you ask questions politely and make sure you're not like a dick about it. Like, don't be an asshole. And it's crazy because some people are assholes about it. Like, it's so weird where, like, I want to give examples so badly, but it's like, it's hard because I don't want to give examples because negativity is so, like, it's so stupid, it's so petty, and I just want to throw it out of my life. But, okay, so, people are assholes about you coming out. Another thing is people thinking you're coming out because you're asking for attention. Okay. 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 Attention, right? All right. I want attention. No, I don't want attention. Because if I have attention, there's more likelihood of me dying once I come out. And you coming out changes your whole freaking life. So there's so much that you go through when you come out. You change relationships significantly. Either people support you or they don't support you. And those people, that changes. So the people that don't support you, you can't just be like, ha, it was a joke, I was kidding. Like, they're still gonna think you're freaking weird because they don't understand what it is to come out and what it is to be transitioning. And then the people that stay with you and their relationship with you gets better, that's because they support you and they love you for who you are, which is inside, which is the whole point of coming out. Because when you're coming out and you're expressing how you look and how you want to dress, that's to make you feel comfortable. So saying that you're doing this for attention or that it's an act is so freaking rude. And it drives me crazy that I have had people in my life tell me that. Like, tell me that they thought that I was looking for attention. And it's like, do you have any idea what you go through to do this? Do you have any idea how much more stress is on your life initially when you come out? Because you have to be stressed to tell the people you care about. You have to, like, you have to start being concerned with what you're doing and where you go because, spoiler alert, I'm white. Wow, no freaking way. Whoa, okay. And I thought I was straight because I like women. Cool, good for me. So I thought I was a boy, I am white, and I thought I was straight. Okay. Let me tell you what happens when you get rid of two of those things. Your privilege and what people expect of you goes down really bad. And so now people are looking at me like, oh, what's wrong with like, I don't know if that's a boy or a girl, but I'm just going to assume that they're weird. They probably don't do anything. They don't have a real job. Management. Okay. I worked with a corporation. I was good at my job. I cared about my job. I cared about the people that worked for me, and I still do. So me being trans obviously has no bearing over my ability to perform any job just as well as somebody who is cis can. Okay. And next thing. Hello. I put myself in a category that has such high murder rates It's ridiculous. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous. I'm gonna pull up some facts. So, because math is fun and we enjoy this. So, let's talk about statistics and numbers, okay? So, when it comes down to it, that known cases of fatal violence against transgender people in 2017 alone have been the highest in recent United States history, okay? In the past decade, at least. So in 2016, there are at least 23 known trans female deaths. And in 2017, it's 25 now. Now, you might think that that's not that big of a number. Okay, 25. That's known public deaths. Do you know how many deaths get scraped under the rug for anyone, whether you're cis or you're trans? A lot. It's usually about 1 in 15 get killed because they're trans. And that's a really small number if you think about it. Okay? That's very, very scary. So when you're thinking that this is for attention, just keep that stuff in mind. Understand that this isn't something that somebody does because they are like, oh, everyone look at me. Look at how great I am. Like, I'm coming out. I'm trans. Like, wee. No, it's a big deal. And it takes a lot of courage for people to do that. Another thing is, I mean courage in, I want to make one thing clear. So I mean courage as far as making sure that you don't let yourself be held back by other people's opinion of you. Not that transitioning is something that you can only do if you're brave. Like, come on. Okay. Cause, yeah, there's kind of something that's like a little weird with that. But, anyways, so a couple more things, cause I want to kind of breeze through a couple of these, cause I went off on a little bit of a rant with that one, cause I just hate that. And I know that I'm not the only trans female or trans person that gets it. It's not for attention. I'm coming out because I'm trying to express myself. I'm trying to feel comfortable in my own skin. Please respect that. Please understand that. I love you. Thank you. Okay. Another thing is hair function. Please, hair function. Okay. So another thing is, my hair is being so rude. Whatever. Fine. Okay. Well, now see, I feel like a librarian. Whatever. Okay, so I'm rocking the librarian look now. So hair in the back. Okay. Oh, that's not bad. I should tie that later. That looks cute. Anyways, so couple things when you're talking to your friends that are transgender. Watching how you phrase things and how you talk to them is something I covered over earlier. Pronouns, everything like that. You know, make sure that you respect them just as you would anyone else. The next thing to look at is if their families are not supportive at all, they might get kicked out of their house. They might have no job because their company doesn't like trans people and they don't understand. They might have more difficulty with their job because people might look at them funnier, or people will be like coming up to them and berating them for how they look. You know, help them with that, okay? Okay. 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 So, helping them with those, with like adjusting themselves to that and giving them there's like that support that they have you if they need you. Like, you're there supporting them. And, you know, if you're saying like, oh, well, how can I support them with that stuff then? Okay, well, if they get kicked out of their house, you know, hopefully if you can, I'm not saying everyone should do this, and this is obviously case by case, but maybe have them like stay with you for a little bit, like sleep on a couch for a little bit. Like if you know, if they need some place to stay for a little while until they can get some money, and or maybe get their parents to process that and they can like go back with their parents. Everyone's situation's different with that, but they might need a place to stay for a little bit, and you could be that person for them. You could be that supportive. Another thing that you can do is recommending, like, if you know any, you know, any YouTubers or anything like that, any just trans people to talk to or to hear them talk, just so they don't feel alone and so they don't feel like that they're like the only ones going through this. A lot of times, even with people discovering who they are, it takes listening to trans people talk and being like, I do feel like that. Okay, I do feel like that. Yeah, so maybe I'm trans. And not everyone that feels dysphoria is trans, and like, you know, maybe there's other stuff going on. I was poorly ready. Anyways, but you could show them, they could connect with that YouTuber, and or they could connect with somebody in their life that's transgender and they have somebody to talk to, and being there where they can be like, hey, like, I kind of want to vent about a couple of things because this shit's hard. And it's like, okay, you know, like, sure, what's up? Talk to me. And yeah, like, that's another thing to show them with YouTube or anything like that. There's, depending on your area, there's support groups for transgender individuals. It's just a bunch of individuals who are transgender, and they are all just, you know, trying to get support with each other and be there for each other. So that's not a bad place to take them either. You can be that person to drive them there if they don't have a car, or if their parents took away their car because their parents don't like them because they're not their kid anymore, or something like that. Like, I don't know. Yeah, so let's do some recap, okay? So the first thing, me coming out as transgender, if you're my friend, support me, love me, figure out how I want to be referred to. If I change my name, call me by my name, please. Call me by my preferred gender pronouns, because there's a lot that goes into that. And a lot of that includes personal safety and comfort. So every time you don't call somebody who's transgendered the proper pronouns, it makes them really uncomfortable. And it's so awkward. But there's that little bit. Next thing, it's not for attention. The process of transitioning is to help you emotionally and mentally feel more comfortable in your body. You sacrifice a lot, you give up a lot. You give up a lot more if you are a person of color who is coming out. So I was saying how I had like the 3 privilege stones of being white, believing I was a boy, being perceived as a boy, and being straight. I was not in the category of any side that gets excess prejudice. I might get backlash of people who get excess prejudice, but I was also never really categorized in that group because of my own beliefs and my own morals. So I was pretty good. It was pretty comfortable. It's not for attention. You sacrifice a lot to do this, to feel comfortable. And that's horrible how much you sacrifice. And it should not be that way. And that's what these videos are trying to do, is to help educate people, so it shouldn't be this hard for people coming out in the future. You can just show these videos and be like, hey, like, this is what it is to be transgender. Don't hate us. We don't want to be hated. We just want the same things that you guys have. We just want to feel comfortable. We don't want to get murdered. Holy cow, we don't want to get killed. We want to go where we want and not worried about getting shot. Anyways, so next thing is next thing, if they need a place to stay, you might be able to be that friend. Or if they can't stay at your place, maybe you can help them get like an apartment somewhere. You know, maybe you can take them apartment shopping, or not apartment shopping, but like looking for apartments, trying to get a place for them to stay. You can do that for them. They would probably greatly appreciate that. There you go. That's another option for you. Lastly, you can, okay. Beep. Yeah. Last thing, especially when they feel like nobody understands them. You know, maybe it's still hard for you to process everything. So you're watching transgender YouTube channels. You're like figuring more out about the community. So you can try to be there for them more. So you can be like a more supportive friend. Be like, hey, like, I like these videos and I'm learning about it. So here. And you share them those videos and you're like, oh, you know, like if you feel like uncomfortable with this, here's a video about other transgender people feeling uncomfortable with this. And they're like, oh my God, I don't feel alone. Thank you so much. Oh my God. So these are just a couple of things, very broad things to think about and that you can also do to help be supportive of them. So the first two things are kind of more of like what to avoid thinking about and what to avoid asking them, because there's a lot of ways you can be misinterpreted and it can come off as rude, and you could come off as rude. And I don't think that anyone wants to intentionally come off as rude. So the second two things are things that you can do to be directly influential to their life, as far as showing them channels of other YouTubers or helping them get to like support groups for transgendered individuals. Also making sure that they have a place to live if they need a place to live. Again, I hope that this video was helpful, and I hope you guys learned a little bit about how to kind of be supportive, or a little bit more supportive, and also just it was kind of a little went off topic for that little tangent there in the middle. But yeah, I really just, that one got me going when I thought about that one. So sorry about that, but yeah, so I hope this was good, or I hope that you guys learned a lot, and I hope that you had fun, and I hope you have a great day. Bye bye.